The Code Enforcement Special Magistrate hearing for Monday, January 12th, 2026. Hello, my name is Erica Agello, and I am the appointed Special Magistrate to hear today's cases. I'm a practicing attorney licensed by the Florida Bar and board certified in city, county, and local government law. I have been appointed to this position in accordance with the authorities set forth in Chapter 162 Florida Statutes and the City of St. Pete Beach Code of Ordinances. I am not an employee of the City of St. Pete Beach and do not represent the city here today, and I do not confer with the city's code enforcement officers outside of the hearing process about your cases. It is my role to fairly and objectively review the matters presented. As such, I would like to advise you of certain matters related to today's proceedings. Today's matters will be heard in the order in which they appear on the agenda unless otherwise agreed. Every effort will be made to hear all persons having relevant evidence, arguments, or comments related to the specific case that is being heard. If you wish to speak today, it is necessary that you be sworn in, which I will do momentarily. All testimony given will be done so under oath, and in all cases, since the city has the burden of proof, it will present its case first, and then the respondent will be given an opportunity to refute the city's allegations. While formal rules of evidence do not apply to this proceeding, I will make every effort to ensure that fundamental fairness and due process is afforded to all parties. After hearing all relevant evidence, I will issue an order. The order will be reduced to writing, and all parties will be provided with a copy, so please ensure that we have your current address or email address. Additionally, you are advised that I do not have the authority to grant you a variance, permit, or other special exception of any kind. My role is solely to determine whether a city code has been violated and, under some circumstances, to provide a reasonable time to correct the violation by whatever means are available to you. Please be advised that you may be subjected to a fine and a lien may be recorded on your property if the violation is not corrected by the compliance deadline if one is provided. If you wish to present any evidence today, please sign in at the podium before you speak, and it will be necessary that you swear or affirm to tell the truth. Therefore, at this time, I will swear in any witnesses. Anyone wishing to speak today, please stand and raise your right hand to be sworn. Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? Yes. So sworn. Okay, are there any changes to the agenda this morning?
Good morning, Madam Special Magistrate. Pete Dewar, Code Enforcement Manager for the City of St. Pete Beach. There are changes to the agenda. The city would like to extend a courtesy to Attorney Leroux and the court reporter so that their cases can be heard out of order. Case number 2025-0731. Under new cases, A, and case number 2024-0563 under new cases, F.
Yeah, you got it.
Okay, and any other changes to the agenda?
Not at this time.
Okay, so calling the cases out of order, I will go ahead and begin with agenda item 4A. Case number 2025-0731, City of St. Pete Beach versus Dolphin Watch 3, LLC. Good morning, Mr. Leroux.
Agello, good morning. I was explaining to my colleague and Mr. Dewar that I was completely unavailable last week. My grandson was in the hospital having brain surgery. His father passed away, so I'm the sole male support system for him. We were aware of these cases, and we tried to put together some materials to speak to the city attorney's office. I was unable to do that until this weekend. So I would like the ability to continue that case to a future date so that we can continue to speak about the issues in number A, 4A.
Okay, and our next hearing is scheduled for February 9th at 10 a.m. Is that an acceptable date for you?
We have a jury trial in Hillsborough. Can I get the next possible date?
March 9th.
Very good.
Okay, is there any objection from the city on continuing this case until March 9th?
There's no objection, Your Honor. Also, the city was provided with a copy of a motion to dismiss, which is quite lengthy, so we are in agreement with the continuance to give us time to review it.
Okay.
Good. And I'll defer to whatever extra time they so desire.
Okay,
Yes.
certainly. Well, we will go ahead and then continue this case until the March 9th, 2026 hearing at 10 a.m. That will give time for the parties to confer on the motion to dismiss and anything else, and then I will see you back here on that date and time.
Very good. Thank you for the privilege.
And then case number 2024-0563.
My understanding is that that was a case for not permitting some air conditioning systems, and I was sent copies of the applications for permits last week, so I believe that should be resolved. But if we would reset it to the same date, just to verify that all of the requirements have been met, that would be excellent.
Okay, any objection from the city on that one?
I did not discuss that one with Mr. Duar. I would ask the code officer if you're aware if he has an objection to also continuing that one to the same day.
Yes, we could continue it to the same day.
Okay.
Okay.
But it-
No objection from the city?
No.
Okay, that case will also be continued then until the March 9th, 2026 hearing at 10 a.m. And Mr. LaRoe, I will get you orders. You want them sent directly to you?
Good. I'm very grateful for the courtesies of my colleague and special magistrate, and Happy New Year and have a good day.
Of course.
Thank you for the privilege.
Thank you, Mr. LaRoe. You have a wonderful day. Okay, then continuing on to our regularly scheduled agenda, agenda item 3A, case number 2025-0220, City of St. Pete Beach versus Mr. Starkus.
Good morning, Madam Magistrate. Stephen Rivera on behalf of the City of St. Pete Beach Code Enforcement. This is a status hearing for 1104 Passage Row Way to determine any authorized fines or costs for permits that were required. I did speak with Mr. Starkus. He's been in and out. He had some issues getting some paperwork together, but he is working toward compliance, so we would like to just continue it until February.
Okay, is Mr.
It's in the
Starkus?
home stretch, so, yeah.
Mr. Starkus, is there any objection to continuing this until the February hearing and reassessing it at that time, if need be? To give you more time to get the permits as necessary? Okay, all right, then we will go ahead and continue this one until the February 9th, 2026 hearing at 10 a.m. Hopefully I won't need to see you there, Mr. Starkus, and you'll have your permits, everything will be good, but if need be, we'll see you back then in February. Moving on to agenda item 3B, case number 2025-0507, City of St. Pete Beach versus Mr. Bakatarian.
Hey, good morning, Madam Magistrate. Again, Stephen Rivera, City of St. Pete Beach. I spoke with the property owner this morning. The city is still reviewing his paperwork to try to get him grandfathered.
Okay.
I did tell him we were just going to ask for a continuance till February. We should have a definite answer by then.
Okay, and is he here or anyone here on his behalf? I don't see him in the audience.
Now, he said he wasn't going to be able to make it in.
Okay.
That's what he was calling it, just to verify if there was any changes. I did said I'd let you know that I spoke to him this morning.
Okay.
But yeah, he is aware that it's still in review.
And do we think that until February will give the city enough time to review whatever paperwork is
Yeah,
necessary?
correct. We were trying to, the holidays kind of slowed everything down. We were hoping to have an answer before today. I did speak with Brandon Berry, who's working to try to get his paperwork together. We're right there in the home stretch, but with the holidays, it kind of put a damper on things.
Sure. Okay, well then that case will then be continued until the February 9th, 2026 hearing at 10 a.m. to allow the city to continue to review the status of the property.
Thank you.
Moving on to agenda item 3C, case number 2025-0061, City of St. Pete Beach versus Christopher Paget.
Good morning, Special Magistrate Ayaka Rochelle, representing Code Enforcement, St. Pete Beach. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
This is a status hearing for the property at 544 72nd Avenue. They were required to obtain a fence permit. I did hear from the owner on December 30th, who wanted to request another 30-day extension, and I advised him that he would have to appear here and ask you personally for that. It's not my, I don't have the authority to issue another extension.
Certainly.
So I believe he is here.
Mr. Paget?
Pageant.
Okay, if you could please just come up and let me know what the basis of the request for the 30-day extension is, I'd appreciate that.
Yeah, it took me, I had to get a new survey in order to submit the fence permit over the holidays. That was a little delayed. I asked to extend it, but the status right now is the permit application has been submitted and the fees have been paid. So it's, under review. I don't know if that's acceptable or I need to come back after it's approved, but that's the status.
Okay. My order, I was just double checking what the verbiage in my order says. It says that you need to come into compliance. Coming into compliance would be securing the after-the-fact permit.
Yep. So
So I will go ahead, is there any objection to the 30-day continuing, or the 30-day extension from the city?
Well, that it's been submitted and the fees have been paid. Now, if there were no efforts made, then I would.
Okay, so then I will go ahead and extend my administrative order by 30 days. I can't do math very well, so I don't know what that date is, but we will, that'll put us past the February 9th date. Actually, let me ask this. Ms. Ruckteschall, do you have any idea what, for after-the-fact permits, what the length of time is to get those approved are?
I can call the building official up here to talk about the permit process.
Yeah, it would be, if, I'd hate to extend this all the way till March, so if after-the-fact permits are reviewed. Good morning.
Good morning. Luke Curtis, building official.
Okay, Mr. Curtis, how long is that process generally for after-the-fact securing of permits for fence permits?
So it should be a simple process. It's more planning and zoning than building to make sure it meets the criteria of the city code, but it shouldn't be more than 30 days.
Okay, 15 days? Would that, the reason I ask is because 30 days puts us at the March hearing, and frankly, for an after-the-fact permit, I would think it would go relatively quickly, so I'm just trying to get it in before the February hearing.
And I apologize if this information, has the permit been applied for yet?
Yes.
It has. Okay, so it's in the queue. We can make, it's a simple review, so it shouldn't be a problem if you put 15 days on
Okay,
it.
let's go ahead and do this. I'll grant a 15-day extension, and then if need be, we can meet back here at the February 9th hearing to see what's going on with the process if it's not been issued by then. If it has been issued, then you should be in compliance and we won't need to have you come back to the hearing. But at least that way, we're not pushing it all the way out till March.
Okay, excellent, thank you.
So I will get you an order to that effect, and Mr. Padgett, just make sure I have your contact information.
Okay, great, thank you.
And it will be 15-day extension from the date of my order today, so. Okay, and moving on, 3D, case number 20250604, City of St. Pete Beach versus Develop St. Pete Beach LLC.
Good morning, Madam Magistrate, Stephen Rivera, City of St. Pete Beach Code Enforcement. This is a status hearing for 550 59th. The property has obtained a roof permit to make the repairs for the roof, fascia, and soffits. There's also a permit that was obtained for stucco work that needs to be done at the property. So at this time, the property is compliant. They're coming into compliance.
Okay, and so the city considers that substantial compliance coming into compliance?
Yeah, the repairs haven't been made yet, but the permits that were required to do so, so they've gotten past their whatever home repair permit issues that they may have had.
Okay.
Permits for what we brought them in for were applied for and obtained.
Okay, so at this time, the city finds the property is in compliance. Are you seeking any
Compliance, yes.
administrative?
$330 in administrative costs, please.
Okay. Okay, anyone here on behalf of the property owner, Develop St. Pete LLC, St. Pete Beach LLC? Seeing no one? Okay, I will go ahead and find that the property is in compliance. I am not going to assess any fines or fees, but I will assess the $330 in reasonable administrative cost of the city.
Thank you.
And agenda item 3E, case number 20230431, City of St. Pete Beach versus Michael Delp.
Good morning again, Stephen Rivera, City of St. Pete Beach Code Enforcement. This was a status hearing to determine compliance for the permits that were closed and expired, or I should say expired. The permits have been reopened, so now they just need to do their finals, find out what needs to be done and close it out. But on our end, they are compliant, so the city's only asking for the $330 administrative cost.
Okay. Anyone here on behalf of Mr. Delp, or is Mr. Delp here? Okay, if you want to come up and say a little piece for yourself here.
Now that the permit is active, the next step that we have is for a variance to permit for the extra pavers that we have to create the driveway. So that process has also been started.
Okay, great. And so the city's not asking for any fines or fees, but they are asking for the $330 in administrative costs. Do you have any response to that?
I let it expire, so.
Okay. All right, thank you so much, Mr. Delp. I am going to find that the property is now in compliance. I am not going to assess any fines or fees, but will assess the $330 in reasonable administrative costs of the city. And as long as I have your information, I'll get you an order to that effect. You have it for your records.
All right, thank you.
Thank you. Have a great day. Moving on to 3F, case number 20250707, City of St. Pete Beach versus Affordable Properties Realty and Management, Inc., trustees for 6795 Gulf Winds Drive Land Trust.
Good morning. My name is Lucy, Code Enforcement Officer, 6795 Gulf Winds Drive. We're asking for $19,000 in admin fees. They had 22 reviews. An attorney. It was an I&I notice of violation dated and mailed certified 10/28/25. Notice of hearing dated and posted on the property on 10/28. The respondent, Affordable Properties Realty and Management. Violation address 6795 Gulf Winds Drive. Violations, the property is in violation of section 12.2A, permitted principal uses and structures of land development and code of the City of St. Pete Beach. Affidavit of posting. This picture is true and accurate representation of what I observed on the date it was taken. Advertisement on Airbnb. The host. The review from John in April, Jerry in May, Alexandria in May, Myra in May, Gregory Sean in May, Nicole May, Susan May, Adam June, Jason June, Sydney June, Amy July, Eric August, Gabriella August, Marie August, Nathan August, Matthew September, Zachary September, Bailey September, Isabel September, Melissa October, BJ October, Erica November. The corrective action is the property is permitted to operate a short-term rental up to 3 times within a 12-month period. Any additional rentals within that time frame must be for a minimum of 1 month. Property is not eligible to be rented short-term until May 26th. Property is not in compliant. Recommended fine is $1,000 per violation, 19 reviews, totaling $19,000 plus 330 admin fees. Costs only in any recording fees that may be associated with this case.
Okay, and those reviews were posted from which platform?
Airbnb?
Airbnb.
Yes, ma'am.
And does the city want to submit the Airbnb review criteria also as
Yes.
as it typically has done in the past?
This is the Airbnb criteria.
Great, thank you very much. Okay, anything else from the city?
No, ma'am.
Okay.
Y'all from the city.
Is there anyone here on behalf of the property order, Affordable Properties Realty and Management, Inc., trustee for 6795 Gulf Winds Drive Land Trust? Anyone here on behalf of the property 6795 Gulf Winds Drive? Have you had any communication with anyone relative to the property or the property owner?
No, ma'am.
Okay. And I do see in the backup that the information, that the notice and everything was sent certified mail to the 6795 Gulf Winds Drive Land Trust at 321 28th Street South in St. Pete. And that's the address that's listed on the property appraiser's website, or the tax collector. Perfect. Okay. All right. Seeing as there's nobody here on behalf of the property owner, I find that the property is in violation of the stated code section and that it is irreversible and irreparable in nature. I will find that there has been proof of 19 violations on this property that are irreversible or irreparable, and I am going to go ahead and assess a $1,000 fine for each one for a total of $19,000, plus $330 in reasonable administrative costs to the city, and any necessary recording fees that might result as a need to record the lien on this property. Okay. Thank you very much. Moving on to agenda item 3G, case number 202500718, City of St. Pete Beach versus Nelson B. Hill and Alice L. Hill.
Good morning. Case number 202500718, respondent Nelson Hill B. Jr. and Hill Alice, violation 544 9th Avenue. The property is in violation of section 36.4, prohibited uses and structures of land development code, City of St. Pete Beach. The initial inspection was 11/10/25. Irreparable and irreversible notice of violation dated and mailed certified 11/12. Notice of hearing dated and posted on the property 11/12. This picture is true and accurate representation of what I observed on the date it was posted. This is the advertisement on Airbnb. This is the host info. They had one review, and we're asking for $1,000 for the one review and admin fees of $330.
Okay. Anyone here on behalf of Mr. or Mrs. Hill? Anyone here for the property at 544 69th Avenue, St. Pete Beach? Ms. Knight, did you have any communications with the property owner at all?
Not the property owner.
Or anyone on behalf of the property owner?
VRBO policy.
Can they get over here, please? And this is the VRB property paper.
Okay, I'll accept that as into evidence as well. Have you had any conversations with anyone on behalf of this property?
Mr. Hill, not Mr. Hill, Lynch, the property management.
The property manager? And what discussions did you have with the property manager?
It was an email about the fines.
Okay, so he is aware that there was a hearing today, and he was aware that there would be fines assessed if...
I haven't spoke with him because I wasn't here on the 8th. Someone else spoke with him then.
Okay, so somebody else...
On the 8th, yes.
Okay. Anyone that's here that I could ask questions about that?
Madam Special Magistrate, as staff, are you going to go to the podium? Yes, please. I spoke to a gentleman this morning who made the claim that he is away and unable to make the hearing today because he is attending a funeral.
And who, was that someone on behalf of was that the property owner or the property manager?
The manager claimed that he is away at a funeral today.
Okay.
The property manager is the only one that I've had communication with, and we advised him that he could represent them if he had the power to represent them. I don't think that that was ever
Established.
obtained, so he wasn't able to represent them, so he's not here.
Okay. Okay, and no one's had any contact with Mr. Hill or Ms. Hill?
Right.
No.
Okay.
Just the property manager.
All right. Okay, seeing as no one is here on behalf of the property owner and that it is unclear if the property manager even had the authority to represent the property owner in this instance, and and knowing that notice was properly sent to Mr. and Mrs. Hill at 2 White Dove Court in Pueblo, Colorado, they are on notice that this hearing is occurring today. I'm going to find that the property is in violation of the stated code sections, that the nature of the violation is irreversible and irreparable, and I am going to assess the $1,000 fine plus the $330 in reasonable administrative costs to the city and any recording fees that might be needed to record a lien on the property.
Thank you.
Okay, and moving to 3H, case number 20230606, City of St. Pete Beach versus Mark Broderick and Lynn Broderick.
Good morning, Madam Magistrate. Stephen Rivera, City of St. Pete Beach Code Enforcement. Case number 0606. Respondents Mark Broderick and Lynn Broderick. Violation address is 3535 Bell Vista Drive East. Violations description: the property is in violation of section 98-123.1, permits required, and 98-123.7, expiration of the Code of Ordinance of the City of St. Pete Beach. Case summary: initial inspection was 10/19/2023. Amended notice of violation dated and mailed certified 8/21/2025. Amended notice of violation compliance date was 9/15/2025. Notice of hearing dated and posted to the property 11/13/2025. Following is a true and accurate representation of what I've witnessed. This is the affidavit of posting at 3535 Bell Vista Drive East. It's a Google map image showing a general area where the structure that was built without a permit is currently located. In this picture, you can see I've outlined the circle of the structure in question. A zoomed up photo of it. Corrective action: property must obtain a demo permit, remove the structure. Property is not compliant. Recommended fine is $250 a day, starting the date of your order, plus $330 administrative costs, and any recording fees that may be associated with this case. I also have the building official here, should you have any questions about the structure.
Okay, so the requested relief is to demo the property and remove the structure. So based on the limited evidence that the structure was built, are they not allowed to have accessory structures in this zoning district?
Luke up
Okay.
to speak better on why it has to be removed.
Okay, thank you very much.
Luke Curtis, building official. So the structure was, we did get an after-the-fact permit for this. The structure that was built does not meet setbacks, so it couldn't exist in the footprint where it's at, number one. And then number two, nothing was approved as far as the construction. So because the whole city is in a flood zone, there are flood regulations that have to be met, building codes that have to be met. None of that was approved, and none of the work was inspected. So a complete demolition would be requested by myself, outside of even code enforcement. I would be looking for that to be demoed.
Okay, so they did apply for an after-the-fact permit, but it was denied
Correct.
because of,
Not
they
meeting-
can't meet the setbacks, and even so, what's built there in the field is not appropriate, does not meet code.
Correct. For example, the proposed plans included a bathroom. Bathroom would not be
Understood. First floor bathroom, right, okay. Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Curtis. Anyone here on behalf of the property owner, Mark Broderick or Lynn Broderick? Okay, if you could please come up and state your name for the record and your affiliation with the property owners.
My name's Alexis Moore. I am the attorney representative of the property owners. And so we were in the process of submitting, well, we did submit a practical variance application to planning with the City of St. Pete Beach to basically, like the bathroom has been taken out, just basically revamp the structure as far as electrical and other things that were an issue pursuant to the building codes to make it compliant with the city code.
Okay, so at this point, the plans have been, well, I guess the plans haven't been redrawn, but the items that are in violation of the Florida Building Code for being on ground level have been removed or will be removed, and then your client is seeking a variance from the setbacks, is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, do you know where you are in that process?
We've submitted it. I believe the representative of the city's name was Kristen. She said they were in the process of reviewing it to make sure that it was approved so that we could meet with the Board of Adjustment to see if it could go through.
Okay. Do we happen to know, does anyone know when the next Board of, I don't even know if it would be
I
on the next
believe it's
agenda.
January 28th.
It is the 28th. However, if it's in review, I don't know if
We'll
it's
make
at
it
the top of the queue, right?
Right.
Okay. And then it will probably be at the end of February if it was on the next BOA meeting. Okay. If you were able to secure, well, the property was still built without getting a permit, so, okay. Do you have anything further?
No, that's it.
Okay, anything further from the city?
No, ma'am.
Okay. I am going to find that the property is in violation of the stated code section for erecting a structure without first securing a permit. However, I am going to allow the property owner, we'll call it, I'm trying to figure out.
Your Honor, may I make a suggestion? Could we do a status, perhaps? Mr. Duar's not here, I don't want to speak on his behalf, but if we did a status on February the 9th, that way if they were on the January 28th, we would have more information as far as have they come into compliance regarding the variance issue. And then at the status hearing on the February the 9th, if they weren't,
Punch it out
then
for
we
March.
could, yeah.
Okay.
Is that,
Yeah, I think that's an acceptable way that way, since we don't know where they are in the variance process. So let's go ahead and do that. I will schedule a status conference for February 9th, and at that time, at 10 a.m., at that time, we'll figure out where your client is in the variance process, and how we can better come into compliance with the city's code. So I'm not going to issue any fines or fees at this time, and we'll come back on February 9th.
Thank you.
To check in, not a problem. And then, Ms. Moore, do I have your contact information? Because I will get an order to that effect, and I can email that to you.
Yes, I signed in on the
Okay,
signage.
perfect. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
All right, moving on to agenda item 3I, case number 2025-0079, City of St. Pete Beach versus Paulette Bosella.
Good morning, Madam Magistrate. Steve Rivera again, City of St. Pete Beach Code Enforcement. Case number 2025-0079. Respondent is Paulette Busella. Violation address is 1706 Pasadena Way. Violation description, the property is in violation of Section 98-123-1, permits required, of the Code of Ordinance of the City of St. Pete Beach. Case summary. Initial inspection was 1/25/2025. Notice of violation dated and mailed certified 1/27/2025. Notice of violation compliance date was 2/17/2025. Notice of hearing dated and posted to the property 11/18/2025. Following is a true and accurate representation of what I witnessed. This is the affidavit of posting at 1706 Pasadena Way. This is a picture of the AC mini split that was installed without a permit. Picture of 2 more mini splits installed. Another mini split that was installed. Just to give you kind of a picture, it's a multi-unit, like apartments. Another mini split. Corrective action, property must apply and secure a permit for the AC split units that were installed. Property is not compliant. Recommended fine is $250 per day from the date of your order, plus $330 administrative costs and any recording fees that may be associated with this case. And that concludes my presentation.
Okay. Anyone here on behalf of Ms. Paulette Bosella? If you could please come up and state your name for the record. Good morning, Ms. Bosella. Can you tell me what's going on with your property?
Hurricane related. I was not in town, and so I relied on information that was given to me secondhand, I suppose. First thing was, I was told by people in town that you could get an after-the-fact permit on things. So therein starts that. Oh, first of all, I want to say, I have nothing but the utmost respect for Mr. Rivera, who has practically held my hand through so many thieveries and lying and miscommunication on this whole thing. So as far as the mini splits go, and they were installed, I was lied to by the contractor that put them in that they did have a license to work in St. Pete Beach. So when I found out I didn't have any means to get that, I started searching for other people to do it. And at that time, for that whole year, as you know, it's kind of a nightmare for things. I don't live here. I just travel here during the winter time. But the thing about the permits is and I also hired a general contractor who is going to then subcontract because they can't do the HVAC work, and he turned out not to be honorable as well. And so that permit, I was looking for another general contractor. The whole thing got revoked by the city. But through phone calls to the city, I was told, I think Patty forwarded me to people that said I had until December because the permit that was open was going to be good for that time. So now we're in January, and I have finally, I've only been here for 4 days, I have found a reputable company that last Friday attempted to get a permit for the mini splits, but they were unable to get through to the city. And so I'm hoping that somehow we can streamline, they're going to try to do it again today, and so get this permit finally there. So kind of like a lot of ignorance and a lot of misinformation and a lot of dishonesty was going on through this whole time period.
Okay, so some of what you said is at some point, was there an active permit for work being done on the property?
There was a permit that was applied for,
But not issued.
but not issued because the general contractor that applied for the permit made mistakes on the form.
Okay.
And so it was never issued, and I spoke with someone back in permits and licensing that said, don't worry about it because your number was assigned. You can change that contractor anytime up until, I think it would be November or December. It didn't matter that that general contractor had withdrawn it.
Sure.
And the reason he withdrew it is because I lost a down payment on that, but I didn't completely pay him because he was, in essence, trying to extort more money from me for work that didn't need to be done.
Okay, but now you do have a reputable general contractor who is working to streamline and getting those after-the-fact permits on the AC units?
Yes, it's actually an HVAC company. It's called Magnum Air.
Okay.
And they would like to get it today if we can put them in touch with whomever would
At
be
the
able
city.
to do that for them.
Okay, then anything else that you'd like me to know before I make my ruling?
No, just that it really hasn't been neglect on my part. It's just been a series of errors and miscommunications and dishonesty that's been going on as a result of people taking advantage of me.
Understood. All right, thank you so much. I appreciate your time. Anything else from the city?
No, ma'am.
Okay. I am going to find that the property was in violation of stated code sections, but I'm going to allow for 30 days to secure the after-the-fact permits.
Okay.
Just in case there is something that happens with the contractor or whatnot. And so it'll be 30 days from the date of my order. And then we will set a status hearing for, it will be the March 9th special magistrate hearing. If the property is in compliance, you won't have to worry about attending. If the property is not in compliance and something else has happened with the contractor or the permit, then we can discuss it at that time.
Thank you very much.
Not a problem. Just make sure I have your contact information so I can send you my order that details all of that.
Thank you much. Bye-bye.
Okay, and moving on to agenda item 3J, case number 202507111, City of St. Pete Beach versus Brendan Doyle and Courtney Doyle.
Good morning, Madam Magistrate, Steve Rivera, City of St. Pete Beach Code Enforcement. Case number 202507111, respondent is Brandon D. and Courtney Doyle. Violation address is 107 4th Ave. Violation description: the property is in violation of Section 20.03B, permitted principal uses and structures of the Land Development Code of the City of St. Pete Beach. Case summary: initial inspection was 11/4/2025. Irreparable and irreversible notice of a violation dated and mailed certified 11/13/2025. Notice of hearing dated and posted on the property 11/13/2025. The following is a true and accurate representation of what I witnessed. This is the affidavit of posting at 104 4th Ave. This is a shot of the advertisement on Airbnb. Host information. So the three circled in green were the three that were permitted. The property is permitted to have 3 short-term rentals within a 12-month time period. The one there at the top that's in red is the violation. And then there's 3 more that are also in violation for short-term rental. You can see it says stayed a few nights, stayed a few nights. So a review summary, there was 2 stays in April, 2 stays in May, and 3 stays in June. And again, the property is permitted to have 3 short-term, so anything after the 3 short would have to be monthly. Property is permitted to have 3 short-term rentals within a 12-month period, and all following rentals must be monthly. Property is not eligible to be rented short-term again until June of 2026. Property is, and I did not see any more reviews this morning, so I'm going to say that the property is compliant. Recommended fine is $1,000 per review for the 4 violations, totaling $4,000, plus the $330 administrative costs and any recording fees that may be associated with this case. And that concludes my presentation.
Okay. Anyone here on behalf of Brendan Doyle or Courtney Doyle? Anyone here on behalf of the address at 107 4th Avenue, St. Pete Beach? Have you had any occasion to speak to the property owners?
Yes, ma'am. So we got contact from one of the property owners. That's how we got to it being continued. They said they weren't going to be able to make the December hearing, so we agreed to continue it until this month, and there's been no further communication since.
Okay. Okay, and I do see here that the notice was sent via certified mail to 107 4th Avenue, and that is the correct address on the property appraiser's website or tax collectors?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
And also, I'd like to submit the review policy. Overhead, please. There we go.
There it is. Right, and I will go ahead and accept that into evidence.
Thank you.
All right, I do find that the property is in violation of the stated code sections, and I do find that the nature of the violations are irreversible and irreparable. I'm going to assess a fine of $1,000 for each of the 4 violations, so totaling $4,000 plus $330 in reasonable administrative costs of the city, and any necessary recording liens to effect a lien on the property. And in my order, I will include that the property is not to be rented until June 2026, and my standard verbiage that they're to get you proof of no rentals within 10 days of the date of my order. And that's true for all the short-term rental orders.
Thank you.
All right, moving on to agenda item 4B. Case number 202-50710, City of St. Pete Beach versus 109 12th Avenue Beach House LLC.
Thank you, Madam Magistrate. C. Rivera, City of St. Pete Beach Code Enforcement. Case number 202-50710. Respondent is 109 12th Ave Beach House LLC. Violation address is 109 12th Ave. Violation description: the property is in violation of Section 20.03, Permitted Principal Uses and Structures of the Land Development Code of the City of St. Pete Beach. Case summary: initial inspection was 11/4/2025. Irreparable and irreversible notice of violation dated and mailed certified 12/1/2025. Notice of hearing dated and posted on the property 12/1/2025. The following is a true and accurate representation of what I've witnessed. This is the affidavit of posting at 109 12th Ave. This is the Airbnb advertisement. The 3 circled dates were the 3 that were permitted. The property is permitted to have 3 short-term rentals in the 12-month time period. There's the one for October that put it into violation. Property is permitted to have 3 short-term rentals within a 12-month period, and all following rentals must be monthly. Property is not eligible to be rented short-term until October of 2026. As of this morning, I did not see any further reviews, so the property is compliant. Recommended fine is $1,000 for the 1 violation, plus the $330 administrative costs and any recording fee that may be associated. And that concludes my presentation.
Okay. Anyone here on behalf of 109 12th Avenue Beach House LLC? Okay, if you could please come up and state your name and affiliation with the respondent for the record.
Good morning, Your Honor. My name is Sunil Pokharel. Last name is Pokharel. And me and my wife own the property. We live in Hillsborough Avenue, so this is our first time buying a property in St. Pete's. We bought the property in 2024, somewhere around April, May, and we use it as our second home too. We stay there during summer, so obviously we're not there much in winter. Basically, me and my wife both are physicians, so as you see, I'm here, off of my work to make a couple of points on our behalf. So, when we bought the property, our agent told us about the rule of short-term rental, 3 per year and 30 days rental. So our goal was so once we bought it, with the hurricane and everything, so we enjoyed the house for a few months, and we put the house on rental for 30 days, and after the hurricane happened, so we had a lot of interest for short-term rental. There were a lot of families looking for a home. We're lucky enough because our home was not damaged with the water, so, and we kind of heard the rumor that city was kind of laxed with the short-term rental. We didn't want to believe that, so we came here a couple of times. We spoke with the lady on the front. She gave us a card and information, email address of Christine, and I did email her requesting just to make sure if this is true or not. And I'm gonna, should I give this to you?
You can put it on the overhead, that's fine.
So this is my first email to her. I didn't hear back. And so we thought no news is a good news. Then we came back again. We actually came here a few times. And then I wrote another email in April. So what they told us was only way to get hold of her is to keep on writing email. So I wrote another email in April and no answer. I didn't hear back from her. So, and then we got the notice in December, November, December. Then after that, we canceled all the reservation. We had a lot of interest and ended up paying fine to Airbnb. And we almost paid $1,500, almost, yeah, and I have the printout of all the fines we already paid for canceling the short-term rental. So the only thing I just want to make a point is if somebody had told us at that point saying, that's not true, whatever you heard, that city is not lax with the rule, would have stopped then. So since we didn't hear back, we did that for, a couple of times, but I canceled all the short-term rental after that, and we ended up paying fine. So that's the only thing I have to.
Okay. And on average, how much do you make on your short-term rentals?
We put it for like $650 a night, so I just have to go back and check how much we made, but.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Anything else?
That's about it.
Okay. So a couple of things. While I appreciate that, and I'm giving you this background information so that you understand where my ruling is coming from. Hearing rumors, because I've heard this a couple times, so whoever else is listening to this, hearing rumors that the city is not enforcing its code or that it's more lax on something is insufficient. I do appreciate that you tried to reach out to the city to confirm that that was the case, but not hearing anything back from them does not then give you carte blanche to just go ahead and violate what the law is.
Absolutely.
So you did take a risk, didn't quite pay off in this respect, but I do appreciate you being very forthcoming and showing up here today. So with that being said, I am going to find that the property is in violation, and I am not going to assess the $1,000 fine, though, based on your efforts to try and reach out to the city, and then understanding as soon as you found out you couldn't do it that you pulled all of the rentals and got hit with fines from Airbnb. I am going to just assess a $500 fine associated with that, plus the $330 in administrative costs of the city and any recording fines that might be necessary in order to effect a lien. So please just make sure that I have your contact information. I can get you an order that has all that information in it. And then just while I've got you in front of me, just make sure this doesn't happen again, because next time if it's a repeat violation, I will not be so kind.
Yeah, sure. Thank you so much. Yeah,
Of course. Thank you very
we
much.
already took the property.
Okay, perfect. I appreciate that.
Madam Magistrate, real quick, just
Yes.
for the record, can we introduce the review policy?
Absolutely, I will accept that into evidence. Right, thank you very much. Okay, moving on to agenda item 4C, case number 202507110, City of St. Pete Beach. Oh, we just did that. 4C, City of St. Pete Beach versus Pad Pro LLC.
Thank you, Madam Magistrate. Stephen Rivera, City of St. Pete Beach Code Enforcement. Case number 2025-0735. Respondent is Pad Pro LLC. Violation address is 2740 East Vina Del Mar Boulevard. Violation description: the property is in violation of Section 8.2A, permitted principal uses and structures of the Land Development Code of the City of St. Pete Beach. Case summary: initial inspection was 12/2/2025. Irreparable and irreversible notice of violation dated and mailed certified 12/5/2025. Notice of hearing dated and posted on the property 12/5/2025. Following is a true and accurate representation of what I witnessed. This is the affidavit of posting at 2740 East Vina Del Mar Boulevard. This is a screenshot of the Airbnb advertisement. So these are a few of the reviews. This is going back from the date of 12/19/2025. There was 2 for October, would have been 2 for November. Go back. 2 for October and 2 for November was 4. Before I get into the next slide, I did look online this morning, and there is significantly more reviews on the property. I'd like to introduce it as evidence. And I made you a copy because it's going to be kind of hard to see the date at the bottom here.
Thank you.
So there's 4 there. And then here we have 3 more reviews. Look at the time frame, 1 week, 2 weeks ago, and 2 days ago.
Okay, and you're saying that these 3 reviews are demonstrations of short-term, and not one of them could have been a 30-day because of the timing between 1 week,
timeframe, correct.
2 week, and 2 days? And based on whatever the Airbnb
Policy is. which I'll
policy is
introduce
within
at the
14
end.
days of...
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
PowerPoint, please. So the corrective action, the property is only permitted to be rented monthly. Property is not compliant. Recommended fine is $1,000 per violation. There's actually 7 violations now total. So city's requesting $1,000 per violation for 7 reviews plus $330 administrative costs and any fees associated with this case. And that concludes my presentation. I'd also like, oh, I'm sorry, let me introduce the review policy as well.
No, we'll go ahead and accept that into evidence. Okay, thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
And you're saying these 3 reviews you found today?
This morning, yeah, if you look at the date at the bottom, it has today's date on it.
And your notice of violation went out on December 5th, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. All right, anyone here on behalf of the property owner, Pad Pro LLC? If you could please come up, state your name and affiliation with the respondent.
Good morning. My name is Andrew Hook. I'm legal counsel for Pad Pro.
You said Hook?
Hook, H-O-E-K.
All right, Mr. Hook?
Yes, so I was recently retained last week regarding this matter, reviewed the notice with my client, explained what the issues were and what the restraints were. They're basically here to plead forgiveness on ignorance of the law. The property was put into the rental pool late last year. They weren't aware of the 30-day restriction. Upon being educated about what the restrictions are at the St. Pete Beach level, they've instructed their property management company to cease all rentals that are less than 30 days moving forward. There's nothing we can do about the past here, unfortunately. What we're looking for is future conformity on the law.
Okay, and can I ask, do you have any information on what the average rental is, the income from the rentals on this property are?
I don't, unfortunately. I'm not sure what the nightly rates are.
Is the property owner here that they might be able to testify to that?
They're not present.
Okay. Okay, well, that is unfortunate. So I've got a couple of things I'm contending with. One, these 3 new reviews, while I appreciate that they do demonstrate a violation of the city's code, they were brought to our attention after the notice of irreparable or irreversible violation went out in December, so I'm not inclined to consider them as part of the violation that's before me here today. With that being said, I do find that the property is in violation of the stated code section, and I do find that there had been 4, I believe, violations that are irreparable or irreversible in nature. And I am going to assess a fine. I don't have any information on how much the average nightly rental was. Mr. Rivera, do you know from when you were looking at Airbnb what it said, if you can recall?
Slide back up for the
Yeah.
advertisement.
I think it says, it's like, if I can read this, sorry, my vision's not great, $3,141 for 5 nights.
$31.41 for 5 nights, correct.
Okay, and I know that's an average. So it's about $630 a night. Okay, so with that information, I am going to assess a fine of $500 for each of the violations, which will amount to a $2,000 violation for the 4 stays that are found to be in violation of the city's code, plus the $330 in reasonable administrative costs of the city, and any recording fees should one be necessary. I understand ignorance of the law, as you well know as an attorney, ignorance of the law is not an excuse. However, based on the average nightly rate and with your appearing here and understanding the credible testimony, I'm going ahead and reduce that fine down to the $500 per each. Please make sure I have your contact information. I'll get you an order to that effect.
Thank you, appreciate it.
Of course. Moving on to agenda item 4D, City of St. Pete Beach versus Martin Mara.
Lucy Knight, Code Enforcement Officer, case 2025075. Respondent Martin Moore, address 6802 Gulf Winds Drive. Violation, the property is in violation of section 12.2, permitted principal uses and structures of land development code of the city of St. Pete Beach. Case summary, initial inspection 11/20/2025. Irreparable and irreversible notice of violation dated and mailed certified 11/20/2025. Notice of hearing dated and posted on the property 11/20/2025. Affidavit of posting. This picture is true and accurate on the date that it was posted. It's the advertisement on Airbnb. They have 2 units, so this is unit 2 side by side. It's the host information. Reviews from Andreas, Alexis and June, Ashley and June, Anandi, Tori in July, Veronica in July, Brian in July, Elena, July, Tahara, August, Kimberly, October, Adriana, October, Connor, November. The property is permitted to have 3 short-term rentals in a 12-month period. All rentals following must be monthly. Property is not eligible to be rented short-term until June 2026. Property is not in compliance. Recommended fine is $1,000 per violation. 9 reviews totaling $9,000 plus $330. Administrative costs and any recording fees that may be associated with this case. Turn it over here, though. This is the rules for the Airbnb.
I'll accept that into evidence. Thank you. All right, anyone here on behalf of Martin Mara? Okay, if you could please come up, state your name for the record.
Yes, I am. My name is Martin Mara.
Okay, and Mr. Mara, tell me what's going on with the property.
We purchased the property back in May, the end of 31st of May, I believe. And shortly after that, my job was kind of on the rocks, and subsequently I lost my job in the end of August. So, and if you can see from the Airbnb, we did it a couple of times in the summer. We didn't know, and due to a family emergency, I had to leave in September, and we returned mid-November, around the first week or the second week of November. We did it a couple of times. Honestly, we didn't know it. I've been on and off here. It's the first time that we purchased the property. I've been on and off resident since 2009, and either work or school, I've been overseas or in other states. And as soon as we got that, we listed the home, and currently I think it's for a minimum of 30 days. I have a printout, but I guess a code officer can have a look at it to confirm.
Okay, so my understanding is you were unaware that you couldn't rent the property short-term. Do you live in the property as well, or is it just a rental?
Well, we keep one unit. It almost never. It does show that unit 1 and unit 2. Unit 2, we've always kept it for ourselves.
For you guys, okay.
We do live. I mean, we used a couple of times.
Okay, and do you live? That's not your primary home?
It is the primary home.
It is your primary home. Okay, and then in the second unit, that's the one that you were renting?
Yeah.
Okay, and your testimony is you're renting it because you didn't know you couldn't rent it, but also because you had lost your job for income purposes?
Honestly, we're probably 1 month or 2 months away from having the property foreclosed if nothing changes in the next.
Okay.
We hopefully will, but that's a reality of the situation.
Okay, I understand. And so from right now, you're saying that you are no longer renting the property short-term?
Short-term, no.
And it's only for 30-day rentals on the other side?
It's
Okay.
not short-term, yeah.
Okay. At any point, did you try and contact the city to find out if you could rent the property on a short-term basis?
If I contacted when we got the notice,
Okay.
but I just didn't have enough time to. I was gone from early September, and like I said, due to a family emergency, and that took me 2.5 months to return.
Okay.
And if you saw how frequently Airbnb was used, I think after September it was used maybe once or twice, and it was just whatever. If we could get something, great. If not, then it's what it is.
Okay. All right. I appreciate your honesty here, Mr. Morrow, today. Thank you very much. Anything else from the city? Okay. I am going to find that the property was in violation of the stated code sections. I am going to assess a fine. I've looked at the ad to see, it looks like it was about $9.95 for 5 nights, so you weren't really making a ton of money off the property. Is that correct? What on average?
Really. It was probably, and sometimes we did a promo, it was like even 120, 150.
Okay. All right, and it looks like you have 9 rentals that were in violation. Based on the information that I've received with regard about the property almost going to foreclosure and the hardship that you have, I am going to assess only a $25 fine for each of those 9 rentals, plus the $330 in administrative costs of the city. The city's purpose is to gain compliance, not to be punitive. However, they did have to bring this to the hearing, so that is part of the reason for my ruling. So it'll be $25 per each of the 9 rentals, plus the $330 in administrative costs and any recording fees needed for affecting a lien on the property, should that be necessary. Sure. Please make sure I have your contact information. I'll make sure to get you the order to that effect.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm. All right, moving on to agenda item 4E, case number 20250747, City of St. Pete Beach versus Beyond the Baseline Coaching, LLC.
Case number 20250747. Initial inspection, 12/22/25, irreparable and irreversible notice of violation dated and mailed certified 12/22/2025. Notice of hearing dated and posted on property 12/22/2025. Responded Beyond the Baseline Coaching LLC violation, address 151 Punta Vista Drive. Violation description, the property is in violation of section 9.2, permitted uses and structures in the RU-2 residential district are as follows. A, residential dwellings, detached single family only. Affidavit of posting, this picture is true and accurate representation of when I reserved and taken. The advertisement on the Airbnb. The host information. Review from Brooke. Review by Maggie. This property is not permitted to be rented on short term. Property is not in compliance. Recommended fine is $1,000 per violation. 2 reviews totaling $2,000 plus $330 in administrative costs and any recording fees that may be associated with this case. And this is the Airbnb.
Okay, that will be accepted into evidence. All right, thank you so much. Anyone here on behalf of Beyond the Baseline Coaching LLC? Okay, if you could please come up, state your name and affiliation with the respondent for the record.
Good morning. My name is Nadia Bryan. My husband Mike and I, we own the 151 Punta Vista Drive. I came here first of all to apologize. When we purchased the home recently, we were told by the real estate agent that we are allowed to do 3 short-term rentals per year, and I understand that it's my fault. That's why I came here to to apologize. What I did afterwards, I looked on Airbnb. I saw that in the area, a lot of people within even half a mile from us are renting on Airbnb. And after what she told me, again, my fault, I should have double-checked. I thought it's fine to put it on Airbnb. We had these 2 people there with the reviews, and then I got the violation. It was probably like a day before Christmas. It's not our primary home, so I actually wasn't there. I haven't got any notice or call or anything, no warning before. So this was the first thing that I got was this hearing. So I obviously took it down right away, and I just came here to apologize.
Okay, thank you very much. And so you said this is, you are not renting it anymore short term, and you were advised by your real estate agent that you would be able to do it 3 times a year.
Per year, when we were purchasing the home. But again, you know, they can tell you.
Yeah.
I'm that kind of person, if you tell me something, I trust you. I don't go on Google and double check what you're saying is true, which I should have. That's why once I found out that it's obviously we were not supposed to, I took it down.
And when did you purchase this property?
So we purchased it in the summer of '24, but then we spent almost a year renovating. So it was not livable or anything for a while.
All right, thank you so much. I appreciate it. Anything else from the city? Okay, I am going to find that the property is in violation of the stated code sections. I do appreciate your honesty, and I do appreciate that you understanding now you're taking it down. You're not going to be renting it anymore. I do see, maybe you can verify this, the average nightly rental is about $1,000 a night.
I would say about 800.
800 a night?
Probably depends, like, yeah.
Okay, and then based on the 2 times, it looks like they each stayed a couple of days or maybe a week for each of those?
I think it was 3 nights.
3 nights for each of them, okay. Based on that, I am gonna go ahead and assess I'm gonna assess $500 for each of the 2 rentals, and then the $330 in administrative costs, plus the recording fee should one be necessary. Again, I do appreciate you coming here and apologizing. I do appreciate that you're now in compliance. But like you said, you know,
I understand.
You took a risk. The risk didn't quite pay off. But I will, and I'm not doing the full $1,000 that the city is requesting because you were so forthright in coming here today. I appreciate that.
Okay. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Of course. And then make sure I have your contact information. I can get you an order that will have that information on it.
Okay. Thank you
very much. All right, we've continued case 4F, so moving on to 4G, 20250574, City of St. Pete Beach versus James L. Wall III.
Yes. Overhead, please. Okay, good morning, Special Magistrate. Ayaka Rector representing the City of St. Pete Beach. This is case number 20250574. The respondent is James L. Wall III. Violation address is 6635 Bay Street. Violation description: the property is in violation of section 46-33(1)A, 2, and 3 of enumeration, 98-65(4) and 6 unsightly conditions, and 98-66A through B, 20, 22B, 2, and C3, residential and commercial property maintenance of the Land Development Code of the City of St. Pete Beach. The case summary: the initial inspection was August 19th, 2025. A courtesy notice is dated and mail certified on August 25th, 2025. A notice of violation dated and mailed certified on December 22nd, 2025. Notices of hearing dated and posted on the property December 29th, 2025. This is a true and accurate description of what I witnessed. The affidavit of posting at 6635 Bay Street. So this is the initial situation back on August 19th, an overflowing dumpster. Also showing overgrown vegetation. Building debris on August 19th in the front yard. By September 6th, the dumpster had been removed, but the debris still remained on property. The building debris is still present, as shown on September 6th, with overgrown landscape still present. Building debris. Then on December 17th, another inspection was done, and there's still building material in the front yard. There is wood and block debris there. And there's a pile of sandbags in the front yard with overgrown vegetation over it, as shown here. December 17th, the building debris. So the corrective action is the property must trim landscape and remove debris. The property, however, is compliant now. The owner did reach out and send pictures on January 6th, and I did do an inspection this morning. So the recommended fine will not be for any daily fines, but just $330 in administrative costs. I'd like to use the overhead and show you the pictures that were taken this morning.
Thank you.
All the debris has been removed from the front yard. Driveway
Thank you.
clear. Just from another angle. It also has all been removed.
Thank you very much. Is anyone here on behalf of the property owner, Mr. Wall? Anyone here for Mr. Wall? Did you have a chance to speak to the property owner, or just when he told you that the property is now cleared up?
Yeah, he just emailed through the pictures on the 6th of January, and I just re-inspected this morning, just to confirm.
Perfect. Okay, then I am going to find that the property was in violation of the stated code sections, but is compliant as of January 6, 2026. I'm not going to assess any fines or fees, but I will assess the $330 in reasonable administrative costs of the city. And that one will be done. Okay, moving on to repeat violations, agenda item 5A, case number 20250712, City of St. Pete Beach versus Team B Equities LLC.
Okay, so Ayaka Rocktrail, City of St. Pete Beach, Code Enforcement. This is case 20250712. The respondent is Team B Equities LLC. The violation address is 463 85th Avenue. Violation description: the property is in violations of section 9.2A, permitted principal uses and structures, and 9.5, prohibited uses and structures of the Land Development Code the City of St. Pete Beach. Here's the case summary. Your final order was issued back in December, on December 8th, 2025, violation using property for transient public occupancy. There was a single review at that time, an October review. Since then, there were more reviews posted, and so a repeat irreparable and irreversible notice of violation dated and mailed certified on December 22nd, 25, and the notice of hearing dated and posted on the property December 22nd, 2025. The true and accurate description of what I witnessed, the affidavit of posting on the property at 463 85th Avenue. So here is the Airbnb advertisement taken on December 22nd, showing that it was still possible to rent for 6 nights, as in an example shown here. The circled green review was the one that we had already cited back in December. There were 4 new reviews posted after that fact, showing short-term rental. So the property is not permitted to be rented for short-term, and the property is not compliant and is a repeat violation. And subsequently, the recommended fine is $5,000 per violation. There were 4 new reviews, totaling $20,000 plus $330 in administrative costs and any recording fees that may be associated with this case. And for note that all our correspondence has been returned.
Okay, so the proper notice was sent certified to 463 85th Avenue, but it was returned undeliverable or just returned unsigned?
Undeliverable.
Undeliverable,
Yes,
okay.
all notices have been that way.
Okay.
May I ask the officer, do you have any additional information for the record, like the policy?
I do. Here's the Airbnb policy. Overhead, please.
Okay, thank you. That'll be accepted into evidence. Anyone here on behalf of Team B Equities LLC? Is anyone here on behalf of Team B Equities LLC, 463 85th Avenue? Seeing no one. Ms. Rectischel, do you have my previous order? I didn't see it in the backup materials.
I do. Team B Equities. Overhead, please.
No one
I
appeared
can
on behalf
flip
of
the
respondent.
page.
Okay, thank you. Okay. I'm going to find that the property is in violation of the stated code sections. I am going to assess a fine of $1,000 per violation for the 5 overnight stays that were in violation of the code. I am going to assess the $330 in reasonable administrative costs of the city and any recording fees that might be incurred in having to effect a lien on the property.
Thank you.
Madam Magistrate, the violation that you're finding, is that a repeat or?
It's a repeat violation, but it's also irreparable and irreversible. So for both, the city has only asked for $1,000 for each of them. I know it can be up to $5,000 for each of them. I think that might be a little excessive at this point, especially since the notices are being returned. I do also see in the backup material, and maybe I want to make sure this is associated with this case, but I do see a certified mailing was sent to Jeffrey Borum in Oldsmar. Is that correct?
Correct.
And is that the address for the registered agent or the manager
Correct.
of the registered agent?
Correct.
Was that one also returned?
Yes.
That one was also returned.
Everything's been
Thank you.
returned.
Okay. All right, thank you. I do find that proper notice was given. I find it's a repeat violation. It's also irreversible and irreparable in nature. So $1,000 for each of the 5 violations to amount in a $5,000 fine, plus a $330 in reasonable administrative costs and the recording fees for recording a lien. Okay. Moving on to agenda item 7, stay of fines, case number 202500069, City of St. Pete Beach versus Annie Nguyen and Jimmy Trong.
Madam Special Magistrate Pete Dewar, Code Enforcement Manager, there is no one here to represent that case. They requested to have this case added to the agenda, and since they're not here, we can...
Did they provide any backup materials for the stay of fines?
The difficulty they were having is having the current owner agree to a buyer representing them here today. And I guess the current owner was refusing, for good reason maybe, to provide them the power to speak on their behalf.
Okay.
So we can move ahead with our agenda.
Okay, I've never had a request before me for a stay of fines. So that case, I guess I'm not going to be deciding on it. That due to lack of the petitioner appearing, that's going to be withdrawn from the agenda, and I'm not considering that today.
Very good. Thank you, ma'am.
Moving on to lien reductions, 8A, case number 202400193, City of St. Pete Beach versus Brightwater Beach Condo Association.
The request by the respondent is to pay $10%, and that number is not $9,000. Based on your order of October 10th of 2025, the property was to be compliant by September 16th, or that's when you ordered the fines to start. So from September 16, 2025 through December 16, 2025, the property was compliant. And that's a total of 91 days at $250 per day. Brings us to $23,080 plus $330 in administrative fines. And the city would like to request the full amount. And if whatever decision that you make, we would like it to be contingent on the final fire inspection that is required. I think that is set for tomorrow. So we would like to have that contingency on the order.
Okay, so let me understand this. The property was non-compliant, was found to be compliant as of December 16th, correct?
The property was found in compliance December 16th.
Okay, so I'm going to tell you right now, I'm not going to condition any lien reduction on any further activity that's being done because the city has already determined the property was in compliance as of December 16th. Therefore, my jurisdiction as far as the violation cedes. So at this point, I'm just listening. I'm just considering the lien reduction.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
And my math is a little bit different. I have, if it's 91 days, I have at 250, that's $22,750. And then you said plus the 330?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And the property owners for a reduction of 10%, or to 10%, I guess, or of 10%. I can ask the property.
Got it. Thank you.
Because the numbers are not matching. To 10%. Okay, I see. All right, anyone here on behalf of Brightwater Beach Condo Association? Please come to the podium, state your names and affiliation with the property owner as...
Thank you, ma'am. Good morning.
Good morning.
I'm Scott. I'm the manager for Brightwater
Scott.
Beach. I think you remember me.
I do.
This is Matthew. He's the GC that filed the paperwork for the permit.
All right, gentlemen. So what happened?
What happened?
Yeah.
Well, I think what happens, we missed the hearing, which, triggered the fines. There was a lot of issues going on at that time. We had a board member who was sick, who could not attend. Another board member could not attend because he was out of state. I think he was, I don't know what, I'm not sure where you were at, but there's no excuse. There's no excuse for that. We're just asking for some sort of lien reduction, some forgiveness. We were just told today, because shortly at our last hearing that we were with you in December,
right,
the paper was on the desk, and we had our permit number. We didn't have a physical copy, But we did get a actual physical copy of the permit shortly right after that hearing. And then we were told this morning that I guess there's a fire sort of inspection or something like that. I'm not sure.
Okay. Well, I don't know if you want me to tell Mr. Dewar, he wants me to condition the lien reduction on the completion of the fire inspection. As far as the city is concerned, they said that you were compliant with this code enforcement case on December 16th when the permit was issued, and that's good enough for me. So I need you to work with the city on whatever the fire inspection is. Bless you, Jenny. But I'm just going to consider the reduction of the fines from the $22,750, and you guys are asking for a reduction of 10% or to 10%?
I'm not sure what the difference is.
To 10%. So $2,275.
Yes, ma'am, please.
Okay. Plus, I never waive the administrative costs, so it would be plus the $330 in administrative costs. I guess my question for the city is, and yeah, it doesn't really matter, I guess, but the policy is you guys are just holding firm on all lien reductions now? Yes. Okay, understood. Okay, I will grant a lien reduction because I can understand some of the stuff that was going on, but I'm not going to do it to the 10%. I'm going to do it to 20%. So $4,550 plus the $330 in administrative costs. That'll be good for 30 days. If you don't pay within the 30 days, then it goes back up to the full amount. And I have your contact information, so you'll get an order to that effect sent to you.
Great. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Mm-hmm. Okay, anything else on the agenda?
Oh, ma'am. Thank you.
All right, sounds good. We are adjourned at 11:26 a.m. and see you next month.
Yes.